I think it's very important that I raise this subject today, and it's about hysteria. Moral hysteria, they also call it moral panic. Well, moral panic is usually what kicks in the moral hysteria. As a person who is directly affected by this every moment of my life at this point, I think it's really important that I speak about this a little bit. And I think it's really important that other Americans also speak with each other about how they feel about what's going on right now. The reason why I bring up hysteria is because today they reversed Roe versus Wade. I think there's another case involved named Dodd or something like that. But basically, Roe versus Wade has been overturned by the Supreme Court. And just a side note, but an important side note, about 10 days ago, a week ago, a little bit longer, the Supreme Court also had made some major changes with gun policy in New York and I think 7 other states or 6 other states. But these are all important moves. They stick with the Constitution. People are on each side, and so I understand that, and that's what I wanted to speak of, especially about the abortion issue. Because the right to life and the right to abortion, or the right to choice, there's going to be very, very passionate people on both sides. And I will let you know that those that are in power, they don't want anything other than to keep you confused and fighting amongst yourselves about these kind of things. And they are important things to many people. And so I understand that. I understand it completely. But let's remember that hysteria is very easy, especially nowadays. For some reason, we weren't taught enough about hysteria, mass hysteria, moral panic, moral hysteria. We were taught about the Salem witch trials, but they didn't really give us enough information about that, really, did they? We understand that it was all a misunderstanding and that people died and people went to jail and people there's a lot of important stuff that happened during the witch trials that we should pay attention to today. Law enforcement, and not just that, the people that rule us should understand, not just rule us, but it should be in our education system, something about bias and about hysteria, how to avoid hysteria. And of course, bias is something that also plays very strongly into how people fall into one side or the other and these kind of things. And so bias would be just as important. But for some reason, we don't get taught much about that at all. We may have been taught about the Salem witch trials, but we're not taught about these kind of very powerful social structures that can easily be brought down or easily be manipulated through hysteria. So I just want to hope, I just wish for, and I hope that it's Friday, the decision was made this morning. I hope that it's going to be a calm weekend and that people have their wits about them. And I hope that people understand that if they see a crowd and they think it's their crowd, before they jump into the crowd, think about why you're doing that. And when you say, well, it's for the babies, or it's for it's for choice, or it's for babies, then also ask yourself, well, how did you get there to that point? It's important to realize and understand why you are feeling the way that you are and acting the way that you may be acting in a large group of people. Because, the January 6th hearings are happening. We've seen a lot of riots last year, and we don't need any more disruption in our country. We need as much focus on rebuilding and getting these really inefficient, ineffective politicians out of the way, and getting people in to our government that is actually going to work for us. Make sure that our education system teaches our kids about moral panics that we've known in this country since 1600. since the Salem witch trials, we know that this has been an issue here, and it's almost a crying shame that for some reason our elected officials and those that we entrust with our future has not raised these issues in a way that would get more education about them into our citizenry, so that we don't just rely on our emotions and without having some knowledge about what those kind of what the consequences could be. So I just want you to know, whether you agree or disagree with what happened today, it did happen, and we need to move forward in a progressive and constructive. Let me start with constructive, and I'll say progressive next. And when I say progressive, I don't mean with the path that we've been on, because that path has not really led to much, hasn't led to much real understanding, and there's not much comfort there. We're looking for comfort, and when I say comfort, enough comfort so that we can move forward with other parts of our lives. It's very tough here. We all know this. So let's try to get along. Let's make sure that that whether you agree or disagree, that you be respectful towards other people. I'll try to do the same. And that it's really important to remember that hysteria is it's not something you can just go brush your teeth and it's going to be gone. Nor is bias. It's something that you have to really kind of be cognizant of and work into your thinking before you make any rash decisions, folks. Don't make rash decisions right now. We'll figure this thing out, but let's not attack each other over it in the meantime. Thank you for listening. I love you all, and I hope you all are going to have a really nice weekend.